What's good, fighting game fam? Kensou here, and today we're taking a look at an absolute arcade classic, a legend that's finally getting the respect it deserves. Coming in from the SNK library, World Heroes Perfect. For years, this classic lived in the shadow of SNK's heavy hitters. With the new Neo Geo Premium Selection, it's back, and it's packing a punch, featuring rollback netcode by none other than Code Mystics. Is this the ultimate way to experience one of the wildest fighters of the 90s? Stick around and let's jump into this review of World Heroes Perfect from the Neo Geo Premium Selection. I already know you guys are watching this. You're probably wondering, all right, hold on, Kensou, what is World Heroes? What is this boomer game you have here, man? Well, to understand World Heroes Perfect, you gotta understand the madness that came before it, right? So back in 1992, ADK launched the original World Heroes with the premise that felt like a fever dream. Basically, a scientist that went by the name of Dr. Brown creates a time machine and gathers the greatest fighters from across history to prove who's the strongest of all time. Crazy, huh? Now, we aren't just talking generic fighters here, right? These were eccentric, borderline parody versions of real historical figures. You have Hanzo Hattori and Kotaro Fuma, one of my personal favorite characters, representing the warring states of Japan. You had Joan of Arc, wielding a sword and shield from the 100 Years' War, and even Captain Kidd, the legendary pirate. Now, while the series started as a colorful alternative to Street Fighter 2, it quickly started to carve its own path, right? Street Fighter clones were pretty prevalent back in the 90s. And with World Heroes 2 and 2 Jet, they introduced the infamous deathmatch modes, essentially stages that were filled with landmines, saw blades, and crazy electrical fences. And it was chaotic and loud and quintessentially 90s. This game was all in the 90s, you know what I mean? It is definitely a product of its time. But by the time 1995 rolled around, that's when ADK decided to just drop all the deathmatch mode gimmicks, and they essentially took the cast of 16 characters and rebuilt the game from the ground up for a more well-rounded competitive set of gameplay. They tightened up the controls and created World Heroes Perfect, a title that lives up to its name by being the most polished, balanced, and mechanically sound entry in the entire franchise. That, my friends, is essentially the long short of where World Heroes came from and where it is now with World Heroes Perfect. Now let's talk a little bit more about the game in itself here, right? Built for aggression. If you like fast, aggressive characters and gameplay of that nature, World Heroes Perfect essentially has the sauce. It introduced systems that were incredibly ahead of its time, especially in 1995. So we got the hero gauge first off, right? It's not a standard super meter, but it does feel dynamically as you deal and take damage, and when maxed out you do get your devastating hero moves. But you can also burn it for extra attacks, aka essentially EX specials with better frame data and different properties. So it makes for meter management a little bit more unique than what you would expect from a game from this time frame. Then there's the ABC system, where when you hit ABC together, it triggers a unique character's specific ability. Basically, it's kind of like a feint system similar to City of the Wolves. So you get like feints, fake out projectiles, stuff like that. Some of them can even taunt, which is kind of funny. And it adds another layer of strategic depth, paired with like a snappy, kind of like chain combo system. It's really fluid for a game of its time. Right, in 95, you weren't really having a lot of games with chain combos like that, and there's a lot of unique pressure in the game with the feint system, as I mentioned before, similar to that of City of the Wolves, just in the 90s. And lastly, this version does come with the bosses unlocked, so you do get Zeus and Neo Dio. They are playable right out the box. You don't gotta do any crazy unlocks, they're just right there. So you can go mess around and have your power boss fantasy as much as you like. And they are also playable online. Now, interestingly enough, this game does have a pretty solid training mode. So the game's training mode does have some pretty solid features for its time. you know, this is a classic game, so you're only going to be able to get so much out of it. And I think for what's already here, it's pretty solid for what it's worth. You can also change the game speed, which is pretty nice too. I think that's definitely something I think some players will be able to appreciate. Not to mention, you do have things like, you know, to show your inputs and stuff like that. You also make the dummy attack as well. So it's got some pretty solid options for this release. So good enough to get you ready, right? And the other features it does come with, it does have a gallery mode, which, you know, obviously as you play, you unlock things and you get some pretty cool images that you can use for your avatars or what have you. So that's also nice to see too. And of course, before we get to online, just want to let you guys know that there are leaderboards for online wins. There's a leaderboard also for playing in arcade mode, getting a high score. It's also neat too. So, you know, the game has a fair set of unlockables. It even has an achievement mode here as well. So, you know, as you keep playing, you're gonna unlock things. So it's only natural. It's only natural. Then of course, we got to get to the main feature here, which everyone will be using when they do purchase this. It is online. So we got to talk about the net play. Rollback is king here. We already know this. Code Mystics has always done a fantastic job on the online features for SNK's classic titles. This game is no different. It is baller. Okay, let me tell you right now, the rollback netcode implementation is 100% top tier, right? And that's a big reason why we can even talk about this game in 2026, because the online experience is truly immaculate. Even cross-region matches, hitting those tight chains and reacting to jump-ins felt like playing normal. I did happen to play against someone who was from seeming like Mexico, and I had no issues, zero issues, right? So in fact, just to showcase how good the online is, I have a match here of me playing this player that I was talking about. So I'll put this match up for you guys and you can check it out for yourself and see how smooth it actually is. In addition, it does support 9-player lobbies with spectator slots, meaning, you know, if you did decide to host something, you can play with multiple people. You can also host tournaments on there as well. There's even like a bracket thing in there as well. Like, they did a really good job in making sure online did have these features for the players. And this game also features replay takeover. For a classic game to have replay takeover, that to me is very huge, because I do believe that this is one of the greatest tools that I believe is actually necessary for fighting games now in 2026. And the fact that World Heroes Perfect features this is a godsend. So if you're having any issues with your games, you felt like you could probably improve a little bit more, hey, go back, check your replays, hit the replay takeover, and go nuts. Alright, you guys, we're here at the end of the video. Avengers Endgame, the final verdict. How am I feeling about World Heroes Perfect from the Neo Geo Premium Selection? Well, to be quite honest with you, the Neo Geo Premium Select edition of World Heroes Perfect trims the fat and delivers an absolute masterpiece of preservation. It takes a mechanically deep, wonderful, and kind of weird 90s fighter and gives it the gold star modern game treatment. Personally, I've always been a big fan of the World Heroes series, and seeing SNK bring it back here is really awesome to see. So my final verdict on this game, personally, I feel like if you love deep meter management, high-speed chains, or just want to see how a classic gets a pretty solid dang port, this port, in my honest opinion, is essentially a 10 out of 10. Gotta admit it. It is definitely a 10 out of 10 port. It is the revival of the heroes, and the heroes have made a perfect return. No pun intended. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I want to give a big shout out to SNK for allowing me access to the game to be able to bring this review to you guys front and center. If you like reviews like these, please be sure to leave a comment and like the video. Let me know in the comments below how you feeling. And I'm gonna get up out of here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.